The moment that ended my marriage lasted less than 3 seconds. My 5-year-old son burst through the front door after preschool. My husband opened his arms, smiling. Hey, buddy. Instead of running to his father, Owen ran right past him, straight into another man's arms. He wrapped his little arms around Daniel's waist and shouted, "You're home!" The silence that followed was louder than anything I've ever heard. People think getting caught happens because of carelessness. A hidden text, a hotel receipt, a forgotten toothbrush. Mine happened because my son didn't know there was a difference between family and the man I'd let become part of our lives. My name is Rebecca. My husband's name was Adam. The man I betrayed him with was Daniel. Daniel and I met at the physical therapy clinic after I injured my shoulder. He wasn't my therapist. He managed the office. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we'd talk while I waited for appointments. The conversations became coffee. Coffee became dinners. Dinners became something neither of us had planned. Or at least, that's what we kept telling ourselves. Adam worked long hours as a commercial airline pilot. Sometimes he'd be gone 3 or 4 days at a time. At first, Daniel and I only met when Owen was at preschool. Then, one afternoon, school let out early because of a water main break. I had no choice but to bring Owen home. Daniel was already there. I panicked. "This is Mommy's friend." Owen smiled. "Hi." Daniel knelt beside him. "Hi, buddy." That should have been the last time. It wasn't. Months passed. Daniel started coming over during Adam's trips. Sometimes we'd eat lunch together. Sometimes we'd watch cartoons with Owen before his nap. Sometimes Daniel helped fix little things around the house. A cabinet hinge, a dripping faucet, a broken toy truck. He never tried to replace Adam. At least, I didn't think he did. But children don't measure relationships the way adults do. They measure them by presence, by consistency, by who reads stories, who pushes swings, who laughs at their jokes. Daniel became familiar, then normal. I didn't realize how normal until that Friday afternoon. Adam's flight home had been canceled because of bad weather. He surprised us by coming home nearly 6 hours early. I called Daniel immediately. "You have to leave." "I'm already pulling into your neighborhood." "No." "Turn around." "It's too late." He'd promised Owen he'd help finish building the wooden dinosaur they'd started the day before. "I'll just stay 10 minutes." Against every instinct, I let him. Adam walked in through the garage while Daniel and Owen sat on the living room floor surrounded by wooden blocks and tiny screws. Everyone froze. I introduced them. Pretended Daniel was helping with a home repair. Adam smiled politely, shook Daniel's hand, asked about the dinosaur. Everything seemed almost believable. Then Daniel said he should get going. Owen frowned. "But you're coming back tomorrow." Daniel looked at me. I forced a laugh. "We'll see." Adam looked at me for a split second, then smiled again. "I'll walk him out." They disappeared toward the front door. I couldn't hear what they said. A minute later, Daniel left. Adam came back inside carrying Owen's backpack. Neither of us spoke. Then the front door burst open. Owen came running inside after the babysitter dropped him off from soccer practice. He'd forgotten his water bottle. Adam opened his arms. "Hey, buddy." Without slowing down, Owen ran right past him, straight toward Daniel. Daniel had returned because he'd found Owen's toy dinosaur in his truck and wanted to bring it back. Before anyone could react, Owen jumped into his arms. "You're home." Daniel caught him automatically, like he'd done it before, held him securely. One arm under his legs, the other across his back. The room became perfectly still. Adam quietly asked, "Home?" Owen smiled. "You always come home after work." I felt every ounce of color leave my face. Daniel slowly set Owen back on the floor. Nobody moved. Adam looked at me. When did this become home? I couldn't answer. Daniel quietly placed the toy dinosaur on the entry table. I'm sorry. Adam nodded. I know. Daniel looked at Owen one last time, then walked out the front door without another word. After the door closed, Adam picked up the dinosaur, turned it over in his hands. When did you find out? I whispered. He smiled sadly. About 11 months ago. 11 months? 11 months of birthdays, school plays, family dinners, weekend breakfasts. 11 months of him already knowing. Every memory shifted. The patience, the calm, the quiet kindness. I knew there was someone. He said softly. I just kept praying Owen didn't know him. The tears finally came. I'm sorry. I know. He walked upstairs, returned carrying a thick manila envelope. Divorce papers. Already signed. Already dated. Already waiting. He placed them gently on the dining room table. Then he looked toward Owen, who was happily playing with the wooden dinosaur on the rug. Do you know what broke me? I shook my head. It wasn't that another man loved my wife. A long silence. It was watching my son run past his father, because another man felt safer. The words crushed me. Adam continued quietly. He didn't hesitate. He didn't even think. He ran to the person he expected to catch him. I couldn't stop crying. Adam looked at Owen. Children don't fake trust. They don't calculate. They simply run toward the people who've always been there. He picked up his overnight bag. I could survive betrayal. Another long silence. I don't know how to survive becoming second place in my own son's instincts. He walked upstairs, leaving me alone in the living room. Years have passed. Owen barely remembers that afternoon. He remembers the dinosaur, the soccer game, the rain. He doesn't remember the silence, or the divorce papers, or the look on Adam's face. I remember every second. Not because it was the day my marriage ended, not because Adam already knew. Not even because Daniel was standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. I remember it because my little boy did the one thing children always do. He ran to the person who had become part of his everyday world. And in that single, innocent moment, my husband realized what I had refused to admit for months. The greatest betrayal wasn't that another man had entered our lives. It was that my son no longer saw him as a visitor. He saw him as someone who belonged.